Thank you very much. This is Eric Bosa. We are learning how to create logos using shapes. We have already seen around the application, menus, tools. Then we need to see how to activate what we need to use. We are going to work with the shapes, the pen tools. We shall need to navigate our workspace with the zoom tool, hand tool. There are shortcuts. The zoom tool, you can use Z, letter Z. Hand tool, you can use letter H. The zoom tool, you can also use Alt and drag, Alt and roll, scroll, Alt and scroll mouse. When you use Alt and scroll mouse, it adjusts, it zooms in and out. Else you can use letter Z for zoom, Alt, and it zooms in. So letter H, you click and drag for the hand tool so that you drag around your workspace. Then we need to drag the tool set of shapes to our workspace. We saw that you can peel it off by clicking it. It drops down, and then at the extreme end you click again, then drag it into your workspace. Then you also need the pen tools likewise. You click at them. Then there's a drop down of the pen tools. Then at the extreme end you click and drag them. So we are having the pen tools and the shapes. Then we shall also use the selection tools, general selection and direct selection as we manipulate the shape. So let's start with the ellipse. When we choose by clicking, the dialog window allows us to have the ellipse. We need a circle, so the width and height should be at the same point. Similar. For example, this is set in points. We can have 100 points for height and width, so that it is a perfect circle. Then we are also going to use rulers. Via the view menu, you can activate the rulers. There is a shortcut, Ctrl and R. On the rulers, we can set the units, so it's in points by default, but let's put it at centimeters. Then the rulers provide us with what we call guides. You click and drag, and then we have guides, horizontal and vertical guides. So we shall have guides. Those guides, if you have not set it, they can be deleted or copied and pasted. They operate similar to the shapes, copy and paste, delete. Now, our shape here, let's zoom in. We want to have something similar to a car tire. That means we need two circles. So what do? We need to duplicate this circle so that we have an inner circle, two concentric circles. So here we are going to copy and paste to have a second circle. So when we paste, there is a second circle, but it is not conveniently placed. So we need to have two circles falling over one another. So there, when you copy your circle, then the next circle has to be pasted in front or in the back, so that one circle falls over the other. So when you paste in front, you will not see any change because one circle is falling over the other. Unless you drag around, you will see that there is a second circle. So you are not having two circles, then you need to adjust. So as you work, the system communicates to you. The information pops out regarding what you're doing. If you're at an anchor point, it will show that it's at the anchor point. If you're at the path, it will pop out a message of path, the center of the circle. Then it keeps communicating to you where the path is, where the anchors are, the center, and even units will be showing. So there is the anchor point, here is the center, and here is the path. Even units keep showing around, they pop out. So the system So now we're having two circles and we need to adjust the second circle inwards. So when we are manipulating shapes, for example, if I have a circle and I'm manipulating it, I can resize it via the anchor points. So freehand resizing, I can turn it into an ellipse, changing the width and height. Width relative to height are changing. Then there's another method where I want it to change uniformly without affecting width and height relation. So there, I have to drag from the sides. I have to use one of the anchor points, then I use the Alt and Shift button. Alt, Shift, and then you drag. Alt, Shift, click and drag. It adjusts uniformly without affecting width and height. It adjusts as a circle. Then this is what applies here. So we are going to adjust this one as a circle without affecting the width and height to turn it into an ellipse. So we click at the anchor point, then Alt, Shift, Alt and Shift, and then we drag inwards so that it creates a second circle, and we're having two concentric circles having the same center, bit of geometry. Then that is the shape. Or it forms maybe a cut tube, a cut tile. So that one is an object of interest. Then you can keep modifying it further. For example, if I have another shape and I paste it in the back, it means these two shapes have a fill. But we want the inner side not to have a fill. We need to have a fill only in the thickness. How do we do that? We are going to modify this shape so that the fill is only in the thickness and not inside. It means we have to manipulate the shape. So we shall add some anchor points so that it's manipulated. So we use the pen tool for adding, add anchor point pen tool, we add. Similarly, there is one that can delete the anchor point. So we keep adding anchor points. So we can add our shape and then we modify it further. We can keep adding anchor points, and then between the two anchor points, any two anchor points, you can delete a section. So you use the direct selection tool at the point where you want to delete, you click and cut or use the backspace. You have to make sure the direct selection tool has activated first. You first click with the direct selection tool and then choose where the point you want to delete. You click there with the direct selection tool and cut, or you use the backspace key on your keyboard. It takes off part of the circle. Then what do I do next? I want to have this point extended by dragging it, and then we have what we call handles that can adjust the shape at a point. So with your anchor point, direct selection tool, you direct it to the handle and it adjusts the shape at a given point. I hope you are getting it. Then we need to duplicate this action. So we've seen that we can have another concentric circle. We can remove this one that was used for demonstration. The inner circle has been deleted. So we need another inner circle that has been modified. Then we also copy and paste it in front, and then adjust it uniformly. You click at the anchor point, then Alt Shift and drag it inwards. the center circle. How do we do it? We are going to join the two circles at the point where we adjusted. So we saw we had anchor points at the two circles. Then we go on to locate where they are and adjust accordingly. You adjust the anchor point. Even here, there is another anchor point that can be adjusted. So then we join with the pen tool. We join them. You select the pen tool and then direct it to one of the anchor points. The system communicates to you when you are at the anchor point. Then direct to join the two. If you are to join, it pops up a small square, a miniature square showing that they can be joined. So when the square pops out, you click. So this one is forming a shape. Then we get back to modify our shape and make it perfect. So direct selection tool selects only the anchor point. The general selection tool selects the whole shape, but direct selection tool selects at a point, operates only at a point, at an anchor point. So if you're dealing with a particular anchor point, use the direct selection tool, while the general selection tool manipulates, moves the whole shape. So here we are having a circle width, as we may demonstrate. We try to overlay it over the square. It shows inside there is no fill, while the thickness has a fill. The thickness is showing a fill, while inside the inner circle has no fill. So this is a shape that can make something. For example, I can take it further and develop a logo from that. So if I copy it, a method of duplicating, you can copy and paste. Otherwise, you can also click using the general selection tool. You can click on it, and when you have clicked, use the Alt key on the keyboard. While the Alt key is activated, you drag so that it replicates the shape. You click, use the Alt key and drag. It replicates the shape. So that's one way of duplicating your work. You reuse the elements that you have created. So we need to have another shape. This time we have a shape that has a break. How do we do it? We modify what we have modified already. We use the direct selection tool and modify it at the anchor points where we have already modified. So we could cut off part of the shape using the direct selection tool. You direct and cut off part of the shape. Direct selection tool. Possibly we can even add anchor points. Using the pen tool, you add more anchor points. You add on the path. The system has to first show you where the path is, then you add the anchor point. Then you can delete some anchor points. It shows you where the anchor point is in the information, and you delete. Then direct selection tool. Then we delete some anchor points in a bit to modify the shape. Delete some anchor points. So our shape has a break as part of it. So here, we can use this to create a logo the center to be filled, I need to join the breaks. So I use the pen tool. I direct one anchor point and close off with the next. It pops up a message of closing a small box. Then I do the same at the bottom. Then I close off here. It has to direct where the anchor point is, then it closes off. So this is a modified shape. So this shape, I can use it to create a logo, for example, here. Then we need a guide from the rulers so that the top is matching. The top of the two shapes is matching. Then we align the shapes at the same point so that they are at the same line. The guide assists us in that. You can zoom in for clarity. So two shapes manipulated differently. Then I can rotate the anchor point tool. One of them allows you to rotate. It turns to a curved double-edged arrow. Then you can rotate the shape. So when I rotate, you can display something like that. And then I fine-tune it by adjusting the anchor points. Okay. The direct selection tool works with the anchor points. Then I make the necessary adjustments on the shape. I do necessary adjustments on the shape. Add anchor point. Direct selection tool, you adjust. So we have an anchor point for creating curves. It activates the handles and you can carve at a particular anchor point. So you can create curves. The direct selection tool as well can manipulate the anchor point. It manipulates the shape at a particular anchor point. So it's so handy, direct selection tool and the curving anchor point. Okay. So then we have something like that. So this one can make a logo. It can make a substantial logo. Maybe I can disguise the line here by twisting this around so that I hide it behind the fill of the second shape. So the line can be disguised like that. Then we have the logo. And as we saw, we can duplicate the shape again. These shapes can be duplicated. You can even fine-tune. You need fine-tune sometimes. You zoom in and fine-tune where you see it's not auguring well. You fine-tune. Fine-tune your shape for perfection. And then we reuse the shape. So the shape can be reused. So it can be duplicated. You click with the direct selection, which selects the whole shape, then Alt, and it creates a second shape. And then we have another shape like that. Then we need to align them on the top. Direct selection tool selects it all. And the alignment here on top is the same across. Okay? And we modify where we see flaws. We modify direct selection tool at a particular anchor point. It modifies. We keep modifying as needed. If you make an error, use the undo button. You undo the errors. And then you also need to zoom in for clarity. Use the zoom tools to zoom in. So we have a logo. And still, I can modify even further. I create another shape. system shows me the center. It connects the centers of the two circles, of the middle, the second circle and the last one. So the system works with you. It shows you whether the circles, the centers are aligned well. It helps you to align your objects. So there we have a logo created. Those who are familiar with it, it is the logo of one of the automobile firms. So that is a simple logo created with shapes. Keep tuning, like the channel, subscribe and give the comments. Thank you very much.